So, this is a very important tutorial. Um, so basically, we went into kind of binary code. That's kind of the language of computers. That's what computers understand. So, um, so what I'm gonna kind of get into is this is actually gonna be after this, we're gonna start programming. We're gonna start using Java, and then we're actually gonna at the same time start learning about creating the same program in an Android app. So we're going to get into both Java and Android development like right away and get into a lot of programming concepts. I just kind of had to go over the very basics. Um, but now there's another concept that I want to talk about. Don't live. Um, is low level languages. Low versus high. Low versus high level languages. So basically, um, how I would think of it is I just told you about Java. Maybe you heard of it. Maybe you heard of C++. Maybe you heard of, C Sharp and all that, you know? Basically, what that is those are high level languages. And I'm going to explain all of what they mean and why they're high level languages. But these are high level. Um, and what is a high level language going to be? It's going to basically be, Java, Python, maybe we're gonna be doing Python. Yeah, sorry, I'm just gonna type it. The next one, maybe that's maybe C++ or C Sharp or something. These are high level languages. Um, and this is low level. So what's low level? The lowest level we're gonna get into. Is basically gonna be machine code, binary code, binary code, binary code. So basically the lowest is the closest to what the computer understands, and then the highest is the closest to what humans can understand. So it's kind of like, if you imagine like you know, kind of almost like a car, right? Like the low level stuff, something people would understand, what's going on in the car, in the engine, whatever it is. But then all of that information can be brought brought to the driver. And sometimes it's, things are like displayed on the dashboard to things that we do understand. So basically, when you program, you're not just typing in a bunch of zeros and ones. You're typing in things like, if operation is this, then add these two numbers, and and that's done in a programming language. Um, Java is basically something where you write it a certain way, but it's in English. It's not in zeros and ones. But basically, what happens is uh, something called a compiler is it would take that easy to understand for humans code and then turn that into uh, zeros and ones, and that's called a compiler. So a compiler basically it's almost like a translator. It'll take one language and turn it to another. That's it, and it does that on a program by program basis. So basically, let's say you write a Java program, right? Then you hit run, then it turns it into those zeros and ones so the computer can understand it, and it'll run your program. Another term to know is an interpreter, and um, certain languages in certain situations will have different things, but basically an interpreter basically means that it's going to do that exact same thing, only it's going to do it line by line. So one line it'll translate into zeros and ones, and then the computer will do something, and then it'll go to the next line, and then it'll do something. It's just however it's done. Sometimes in Python there's interpreters, but interpreter is just line by line, and a compiler is just program by program, and all both are doing is just taking whatever language that it's in to machine code to those zeros and ones. Um, you wouldn't really call it a medium level, but usually things like assembly, um, you know, are things that I'm actually not too versed into it, but basically very close to it'll be very close to that it'll be very close to what the computer can understand. Um, and it's kind of in the middle. Like what example of an assembly program um, you know could be, think of examples right here. Is basically it would be kind of at the system level. Actually, yeah, I'm not sure if I was gonna load something, but I'm not sure if we're ready for that. But basically, for now, just take that as kind of like a middle ground between the zeros and ones, and then Java and Python and C are kind of the spoil programs where to humans where basically it's almost like English, just language we understand. And assembly is kind of in between. It's basically instead of zeros and ones, it's gonna have like a lot of commands. It's gonna be something that is gonna be more um, it's gonna be more connected with the machine of the computer. Basically, it's the best way to understand it.